today on 15 on 15.
Minister of Finance details the island's financial history and says a change must be made. Plus, the foods to eat for couples who are trying to get pregnant. And the International Kiwanis Convention focused on Aruba's educational future. Thank you for joining us. I'm Yentl Lieuw. At a recent International Monetary Fund workshop, Aruba's Minister of Finance detailed the island's financial history, what the struggles have led to, as well he emphasizes on how this trend cannot continue. During last week's IMF event, various stakeholders within the public as well private sector attended. Aruba's financial situation is not ideal, and according to Yentl Bermudez, it's been a crisis 3 decades in the making.
After 30 years of autonomous annual budgets, each with its own deficit, a global financial crisis in 2009, in combination with the deficit showdown of our refinery, we ended up with a substantial national debt of almost 80% of our GDP.
The poor handling of the finances accumulated over the years and ultimately led to consequences. Minister Bermudez says there are many variables that cause the financial situation Aruba is currently in, one being too many receivables being accumulated.
And by now, the national interest burden of approximately 4% of our GDP is crowding out our resources for real policies, whilst the debt service sometimes is demanding almost science fiction cash flow management from my treasurer. Particularly, this situation has been created by gross negligence in collecting our revenues through decades.
The island simply cannot continue in this financial manner. A change is necessary.
We cannot go on this way, on this route. And as I call it in Parliament, no more free lunches. The course of events has to change. We have to reset the beacons if we really want to maintain our credibility with local commerce, our good standing with international lenders, our monetary stability, and also our reputation within the Dutch Kingdom. We cannot continue by concluding an annual budget procedure and after that stowing it away in the deepest drawer we have in the office.
We will have further details from the International Monetary Workshop on the next edition of 15 on 15. Moving forward, Aruba's Bukudi and Tata Beach Resort is known by its customers for its quality service as well as their tremendous green program. Now, it's one thing for an employee to execute sustainable practices at work due to company policy. It's quite another when the employees instills this practice at home. The management at Bukudi and Tata Beach Resort has been able to train and prepare their staff members in an effective manner towards sustainability. The associates are fully educated on the hotel's green program, but more importantly, they are proud to inform guests regarding it.
It reflects on the overall company policy. Environmental preservation is becoming more and more important. I just talked to some visitors from Europe, and they actually picked us because of our environmental conservation program. And the employees realize that because the customer also mentions it to them. And they're proud when they can answer the question, why do you do this, or why are you performing a certain operation? They can answer that because the training is such that they know exactly why they're doing things. It's not just being told do this or do that or separate this. It is a whole training program.
Staff members of the property have seen such drastic benefits when it comes to executing green practices at the hotel that they bring the mentality back home.
And it helps them also privately at home, because what they learn here they can apply at home and save energy, save utilities, and in general maintain and teach their children to make sure that our industry continues on a sustainable course.
Kudos to the management at Bukudi. Don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we'll tell you the foods to eat for those who are trying to have a baby. Then we will give husbands and wives out there a really good reason to help around the house more often and to be more supportive in general. Also, we will check out the evolution of swimwear over the years. Stay with us. Check out the evolution of swimwear over the years next. Welcome back to 15 on 15. Some people are more fertile than others. For those who need a bit more help, there are certain foods that you should eat when you are trying to conceive a baby. Selenium is a mineral that in small doses can have some big impacts on your health. It has already been connected to fertility, let's say. Experts say that this is one of those situations where less is more. Too much selenium, meaning 200 micrograms a day, has been associated with an increased risk of type 2 diabetes, aggressive prostate cancer, and skin cancer reoccurrence, and with no benefit for heart health. Selenium is a wonderful and probably disease-preventing nutrient where both too little and too much can be harmful, so be careful here. Here are the foods that contain selenium. First off, Brazilian nuts. Far and away, Brazil nuts are the best source of selenium with 544 micrograms per ounce. Fish, for example, tuna, at 95 micrograms per 3-ounce serving, comes in second place for the best selenium content. Halibut is also another fish that has selenium. Pork, beef, and poultry, like fish, meat is rich in selenium. Cottage cheese does not only come with a healthy 20 micrograms of selenium, but it has 103 micrograms of calcium per 4-ounce serving. Rice, oats, and even cornflakes contain selenium. Rice and oatmeal are the best grain-based sources. And remember, selenium is connected with fertility. I'm about to give you another really good reason to be a supportive spouse. There is a relationship habit that is bad for your health. Attention, couples. Your partners may be messing with your heart in a way you didn't even realize. People who feel less supported by their spouse have higher levels of coronary artery calcification, or in other words, hardened arteries that restrict blood flow to the heart. So your less than helpful wife or husband might be breaking your heart, literally. Researchers looked at 136 married couples and measured their cardiovascular health through coronary artery scans. Then they asked each person individually about their relationship satisfaction, using a survey that focused on how helpful or upsetting their partner was in times when they needed support. Interestingly, they found the highest level of artery calcification when both partners viewed each other as ambivalent. That is, sometimes supportive and sometimes not. And here's the clincher. 70% of people said their partner was ambivalent. Research aren't sure why support is so crucial for heart health. It is suggested it may be that couples who feel they aren't getting enough support have increased stress, which can influence your cardiovascular disease risk. So make sure you are doing your part in the relationship. The look of a swimsuit has most definitely changed over the course of the years. Take a look. The story of the swimsuit really starts with the shift from bathing in Victorian times to swimming. There was this great movement toward activity, and particularly women being more active. Stripping down for the beach still meant donning long skirts, stockings, and shoes until the 1920s, when fashion designer Coco Chanel's escapades convinced fashionable women to stop shunning the sun. It wasn't until the 1930s where some of the pieces started somewhat looking skimpy, and the two-piece made its debut. The bikini, as we know it now, made its first appearance in the 1960s as fashion trends became more youth-oriented and a more natural silhouette was championed by designers. In the 1950s, teenagers looked like their mothers, but by the 1960s, mothers wanted to look like their daughters. Designers say from a fashion standpoint, it is possible that the swimsuit has been taken as far as it can go. According to designers, it is hard to say what they'll be doing in the future. They feel as though they've covered pretty much everything. So look around you at the beach tomorrow in Aruba. Maybe those designs are it when it comes to swimwear. Let's take a really quick break. Here's a word from our sponsors. We have Kiwani's in the spotlight coming up. Aruba has several active Kiwanis groups on the island. The non-profit organization is a prestigious one with members internationally and locally working tirelessly to gain results for the community. The recent International Kiwanis Convention took place right here in Aruba, and the focus was on education with the objective of building leaders of tomorrow. A great turnout showed up at the International Kiwanis Convention. The members who visited Aruba in past years say the island has been able to maintain its charm.
The experience so far has been wonderful. Debbie, my wife, and I were in Aruba 10 years ago when I was governor of Eastern Canada and the Caribbean, and I'm happy to say the island is as beautiful and the people are as friendly as it was 10 years ago, and the Kiwanis family is blossoming and growing in leaps and bounds.
The objective of the Kiwanis 2015 convention is to take a look at the future. Service is a priority for the members.
The main focus this year for the convention is to have fun, it's to enjoy Kiwanis fellowship, and it's to share our stories of service. As well, at the convention, we do a lot of education. We are concentrating on education, our leaders of the future.
Michelle Winkler, the Minister of Education, was one of the speakers. She provided Kiwanis attendees with a better understanding of the children's curriculum and educational future on the island.
Minister of Education, Michelle, she did excellent. I feel like today, after her talk and her educated us, that I feel confident that I can go out and explain and know the status of the youth in Aruba. And from what she said, I think it's on the right track, and there's a lot of progress, and the youth will benefit from the government's help in that.
Thanks for watching. Tune in again to ATV Channel 15 tomorrow night, as 15 on 15 will of course be back at 7:15 p.m. with a new edition filled with great topics. Remember, we are on weeknights. We'll see you then.